Happy podcast where art and wellness fly. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. I am really excited to see you guys today, as always. You know what? We've been a little bit quiet over the last few months because we have had so much stuff going on. It's been unreal, but here we are. So you probably saw our episode last week with Lurks, which was absolutely so much fun to record, and I hope you really enjoyed it too. Such a cool band, such incredible people. I really hope you loved it. Today, I am going to talk to you about girl problems. So I recorded an episode back on Halloween when I was prepping to go for surgery, and I never ended up doing anything with it. And so I thought, I'm just going to record something new and we can talk all about it. So November was kind of wild, it felt like, because I was prepping to head in for surgery just early in the month. First of all, I didn't realize how actually nervous I was to go in for the surgery. And we're going to get back to that in just a minute. And lucky, I just needed a few days rest and everything worked out just fine. But, it's stressful going into those situations, no matter what kind of severity it is or whatever the case may be. So it was really nice. I was well looked after post-surgery. My hair is driving me crazy. And I'm just recovering and getting back onto my feet after everything else that happened, just mostly being sick through. So let's talk about it. So some of you might know, for about 10 years, I've been having weird issues, bleeding, menstrual bleeding. And it's funny because I didn't know if I really want to kind of talk publicly about it, but I keep listening to people I know talk about their struggles. And I'm like, wow, I'm not the first person to say it, but why is it so hard for women to be taken seriously or get healthcare when it's related to anything to do with female specific health? Yeah. You know that they say if you have any changes in your cycle or anything goes weird, that you should go to the doctor. And that's wonderful. About 2015, 2016, things started going weird for me. I wasn't even 30 at the time. And so it was quite frightening where I'm going, what's going on? Because it started bleeding between periods. Okay. For no reason. And sometimes I would just lightly bleed for a month, which is weird. Shouldn't really be happening. And over the following couple years before I left Canada, I went and I'd get checked, and they would do ultrasounds and internal ultrasounds, and they'd do scans, and they'd check this and that and blah, blah, blah. And there was never an issue. There's nothing wrong with you. Your levels on this are fine. That's fine. Blah, blah, blah. They just kind of let it die. And it was like, okay, well, I guess that's life. When I moved to the UK in 2019, this intermittent kind of bleeding would kind of come and go, but it was mostly on. When I moved here, it kind of came back with a vengeance. So I went for more ultrasounds and more specialists and all sorts of things, and they would say to me, you're probably just stressed, which yeah. Oh, I was stressed. It was not a good time, but still, there was just nothing. Now trying taking birth control pills, they either made me crazy or they didn't do anything to regulate the bleeding, or both, which is most likely. And so I couldn't really take those, and they just go, oh, well. So I continued having that problem with the irregularities all the time. And it kind of never went away. Some months it would be a bit easier, and some months it would be worse. But start of 24, that's when things kind of changed. And I wasn't technically bleeding between periods. I would get them every, 2.5 weeks if I was lucky. And I would be passing clots about the size of my fist. I was like, yeah, maybe I should go get that checked out because that's not normal. And so I found out that I had really low iron. Are we surprised? Like, you lose that much? And then the testing started again. I was going for blood tests like once a month. And again, I appreciate that a lot of people have things a lot harder than this, but I was going, for multiple blood tests every month, every couple months, depending on what it was. It was consistently, your hormones are great. Everything is great. You are a specimen of excellent health. Take some more iron. And then actually a bit later, they found out I had problems with my vitamin D. Some of my hormones did look irregular, but then they were like, it's actually just because of the vitamin D. And so there was a whole bunch of just like weird stuff going on, right? But that all seems to have sorted itself out. Bloods are normal again. But they ruled out everything. And they sent me back for more ultrasounds. Then they gave me tablets to stop the bleeding, which didn't really work. And we tried all sorts of things. First and foremost, I'm going to say I absolutely love and respect the NHS. I am really, really thankful for all they do. I went to one of the specialists about heavy bleeding and brought me in, and he sat me down and basically said again, everything's fine. You are perfect. Everything's wonderful. I said to him, but clearly it's not, because normally you don't bleed like this. I don't have endometriosis. I don't have PCOS. I don't have any of these things either. And he just said, and I could actually hear the nurse laughing when I said, like, clearly there is something wrong. And I hear her kind of giggling, trying to stifle her laughter behind the curtain while he's talking. And he said, yeah, well, just keep an eye on it and come back in a couple of years. So if you know me, being kind of struck down for a couple weeks a month is not really ideal, because I like to be on the move. And it's impacted so many areas of my life over the last decade in one way or another. It's shocking. Energy levels, relationships, my ability to stand, to work, to, just basically feel like a functioning person. It's been extremely difficult. And I think a lot of it is just down to losing that much blood. So after he said that to me, I kind of left it for a couple months, and I just kind of was like, well, I guess this is my life. And then I went and I decided that no, I really, really can't keep living this way. And I finally went in to see a specialist at the start of June through a private hospital. She sat me down, and I remember when she said to me, so do you pass a lot of blood clots? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, what size? 10p, 50p. And I was like, fist size. And she was like, okay, yeah, that's not normal. And she was like, okay, here's the options. And she gave me a list of 5 options, from birth control pills and pain management and bleeding management down to total hysterectomy. So option 3 was the mini pill. Option 4 was an endometrial ablation. And that is what I opted for. I was actually going to give the mini pill a go, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I called her back and I said, hey, I changed my mind and I want to come in and have this ablation done. And it was kind of the easiest decision of my life, because I've been struggling with this for so long. I'm just over it. There's risks. You can't have children anymore. I didn't want children past 25, and I've got one lovely boy, and he's 14 right now. And so I didn't want any more children. I've known that for a long time, and I just wanted to feel better. So I went for it, and she did all my assessments and stuff same day. And then within a couple weeks, they got me booked in for surgery. And again, being private, it was pretty quick. It was, start of November that I went in. Really really simple day surgery, and it takes about 15 minutes to do, I think, from like front to end, which is great. The staff at this hospital they're wonderful. Everything went off without a hitch. There are risks to it, no matter what kind of surgery you do, but the risks are honestly very minimal. Oh, it's been exactly a month since I've had it done. It took a while for my energy levels to come back. I was unbelievably tired after the anesthetics and everything, and it should be about a week total recovery. I definitely took a couple weeks, and then I got very sick after, but that was the flu. And so I also had an IUD put in at the same time, which I've never done, and I am still like, wow, that's crazy. But so I had everything done because we just wanted to do everything that we possibly could to make sure that I don't have these problems anymore. So essentially what happens with the ablation is they go in and then they microwave the lining of your uterus, and then it burns the tissue so that you can't build up that lining anymore for it to shed. Fantastic in my books. Yeah, so a month in, and I mean, part of it, of course, is going to be impacted by the IUD, but I have not bled at all. And it's just the coolest for me personally. But the thing is, I hear so many people struggling. I have so many women in my life that have been struggling with their menstrual health and anything, yes, female specific health related stuff. And it's so fucking hard for anybody to take them seriously. And you hear it time and time again, right? Oh, maybe if you lose some weight. Oh, maybe if you reduce the stress in your life. Oh, maybe it's your fault. Or, nah, you know what? It's just in your head. There's nothing really wrong with you, is there, love? Well, there fucking is. And I don't understand why it's so difficult to be taken seriously or to have somebody understand how deeply something is impacting you and your health. Women are not crazy. Women are generally very in touch with their bodies, and they know when something's wrong. And so why is it so hard to take them seriously? And I mean, I am just speaking about women in this episode. I am sure that men have issues too, but we are just talking about women here, okay? But all I keep thinking about is the fact that if you are a woman and you are struggling with anything related to your health, whether it's menstrual health or whatever it might be, fight for it. And God, sometimes it's really, really hard to just keep fighting, keep pushing for it. But please do, because you're worth it. And maybe you find that right doctor that says to you, actually, and I am going to say there was the first woman that was helping me, my NHS doctor. She was like, we are going to get to the bottom of this once and for all. And sadly, we couldn't because other people stopped it. But if you keep pushing for it, something will happen. I am very fortunate that I was able to go to see a private doctor and just have things taken care of so quickly, so easily. I'm extremely fortunate, and that is not lost on me. This last time that I pushed through the NHS for it again and just said, please, 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 I need help, is the first time I actually got anywhere with it. And it's devastating to think of how much pain that everybody has to go through, but being dismissed and saying it's nothing or that's not right. The health system's overworked and underpaid and undervalued, and they take way too much abuse and things like that. But like, there's got to be a way that we can keep advocating for ourselves and taking care of our health needs, because we deserve it. You deserve it. And so let me know if you've had any struggles with this. I am curious. I would love to know your thoughts. And yeah, have you had anything like this done? Have you had any sort of struggles, or have people pushed back to you? Have doctors pushed back to you about your healthcare needs? Just let me know. I'm curious. And I hope that you will keep standing up and fighting for yourself every day. Lots of love. See you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.